Hello everybody, welcome to the Generic Cappy YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. I am Generic Cappy, and today, as we have a Nintendo Direct in just over 12 hours from now, I decided that I will do some predictions for this Nintendo Direct. Nintendo Direct is taking place on June 21st, 2023 at 10 a.m. EST, which is, or ET I guess, 10 a.m. ET, which is a lot earlier than most Directs. Obviously last year we did have the September 2022 Direct that aired at the same time, but normally they do air around 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. ET, so I don't really know if that really means anything. Maybe they just have something else planned for the rest of the day. Like, I think in for the September 2022 Direct, they had to get that out earlier than usual because they had Tokyo Game Show later that day, or like they had to, before those announcements started leaking out. And in this case, maybe there's something else happening that I am not knowledgeable about. Maybe they have their investors meeting this week, so maybe they got to get some of this stuff out before then. But yeah, so this video will be split into a couple of different parts. Some of them obviously shorter than others. But there is a couple of locks, I feel like, for this presentation. Some things that are pretty close to being locks, that, it would be, obviously, like, it's not guaranteed that they'll be there, but I'd be pretty surprised if they aren't. And then there's some things that we know about that, I don't think are guaranteed to be here at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not here. And then obviously, since this is a predictions video, we have some predictions. So this pretty much split in like two different parts. The stuff we know, and we can basically just go through it and say like what, or I guess I can say what I expect. For those things, if I expect those things at all to be here, and then for predictions, it's basically just I guess ideas for games, or just stating a game in a series will be coming out. So yeah. I hope you're all very excited for this Direct. I am personally very, very excited, just because we still don't really know much about what the rest of the year looks like, past July, past Pikmin 4, so, it's always exciting just to, see, I guess, what Nintendo has in store, both first party and through their partners, and then, see, normally by this time of year we do know most of the games coming out this year. We still, obviously we don't know how many games are remaining. Obviously we might have already seen, most of the games that Nintendo wanted to release might have already released this year, or we might already know about, so we might only have like one or two first party games, but it's still very nice, make predictions. This is our first June since 2021, so because we missed last year, and for a June, general direct. This is a general direct, not a mini or a partner showcase, a full-on general direct. So, that does carry some weight with it. That we'll see a couple of first-party games, both in terms of games that we already know about and announcements. So, let me begin with this first part, and see where we go after that. So yeah, let's get straight to that part. Okay, so basically, this part will basically just be talking about what we pretty much know about, and then varying tiers of if that will show up in this direct. The first thing we do know about, and it is guaranteed to show up in this direct, is Pikmin 4. The only reason why I would say that it's absolutely guaranteed, and I wouldn't even say, even without this, I would say it's still guaranteed. They did state it in like the actual announcement for the direct that we'll be talking about games for the rest of the year, mostly games for the rest of the year, and then obviously the mostly implies that we'll see games for next year more than likely, but Pikmin 4, it was stated that we'll see new details about it, so yeah, maybe a trailer for the game. Actually, I wouldn't say exactly trailer. It's very likely we get a new trailer for the game, and then maybe a gameplay preview within that trailer. And then I've seen a couple of people speculate that maybe instead of giving it a full showcase in this direct, they announce a specific Pikmin 4 direct for the game, and I wouldn't be surprised by that either. You know, normally in many directs recently they haven't specified that any specific games that we'll be seeing for the rest of the year, or like games that we would see in that direct presentation that day. So the fact that they are, saying that we will see new details as for Pikmin 4, even though that could, I guess, also be seen as just an example of things that they will be showing, I do predict that we'll probably get a slight to a, pretty decent sized dive into what the game is. The other lock that I feel like is guaranteed for the presentation is Booster Course Pass Pack 5 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Obviously, it was teased by Nintendo of Canada that we would be hearing about the new tracks, or the new tracks to be releasing soon. And that kinda, started the speculation that we would be getting a direct soon of some kind, a mini or something like that. But it did start the speculation that, we do have more trailers for the rest of the summer from Nintendo, and I guess that speculation came true. But obviously, we have 8 courses to see for the next booster pack. So, and then we have still for the next 2 booster packs, we still have 5 characters that they have to release. So, that's a pretty bit large margin of characters, and then we could see 2 in this one, and then 3 in the last pack. We could see a mix up of maybe 1 in this pass, and then 4 in the next one, and something like that. There is actually no guarantee that there is 5 new characters coming to the game, but there is 5 question marks on the character select menu. I am assuming if we didn't have 5, they would have reorganized it, because it does look a little weird to have 5 different question marks just all in one row. That usually does indicate that we have 5 new characters, but if I had to predict what character, at least, some of the characters that we'll see, we could see, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, though I'm not sure if they'll pull from tour characters, so maybe not Dixie Kong. I've only really ever seen Dixie Kong in Mario Kart Tour, so I'm not sure if she's in like other Mario Kart games, like maybe Double Dash, but Dixie Kong, PD Piranha, maybe Wiggler, yeah. So there's a lot of different characters. They did say that a lot of these characters, or most, I think all these characters, will be from past games. So, I don't think we'll see any new characters unless they have another surprise for us. Obviously, we've seen a bunch of different things come with these passes that we didn't expect. Like, obviously, a new character in Birdo. We saw that you can, a new feature where you can, like, deselect and, deselect items, so you can have, like, the items you want for your races. I think we've gotten a couple of updates. We got, some pretty decent amount of stuff with these passes, with this pass overall. So, we could be in for another surprise during this direct. I don't really know what else they would be adding, except maybe like a new item or something like that. But I think, at least we're guaranteed at least see. This is my official prediction for this. I think we're gonna see at least 1 character. And if I had to predict, I think we're actually going to see 2 characters. I think we're going to see 3 courses. 3 courses, 2 characters. I think that will be a pretty good, amount. I don't think they're going to do a full blowout of the pack, just because I feel like they're going to have a trailer soon that shows all 8 courses, and then maybe if they're updating the game in some way, maybe that's where they keep that for. Unless obviously this is shadow dropping tomorrow, then they can show off all 8 courses in the direct, because obviously, it'd be, everyone would already know by then. And maybe that's why they're actually doing this at 10 o'clock, because obviously, maybe they want to shadow drop it later in the day or something like that. Who knows? But that is pretty much all I had for locks. I did have one more game in the lock section, and then about an hour ago, Nintendo released a trailer of sorts. They released like a gameplay demo with a bunch of like influencers around the world, and so like it was just like a promotional video, I guess. But I would have assumed, based on what this game is, that they probably would have kept that for this Nintendo Direct if it was going to be in the Direct. Obviously, I don't think that disproves, or I I think maybe it takes away a little bit from it not being the direct. So I would just drop it down a tier to, you know, instead of being a lock, I guess I'm pretty sure it's close to being a lock, and that is Everybody Want to Switch. Obviously, this game was announced to no fanfare a couple of weeks ago. So you know, who knows what the actual game is. We did in that promotional video. There was a couple of mini games, and they showed off like a couple of ways the multiplayer works. But you know, that could be all that they want to show off for the game before it releases in about a week and a half. So who knows? I mean, I don't know. I know the box art for the back of the game leaked online, so there's like a pretty good idea of like what the mini games are and like how multiplayer works again, and like a bunch of other things. But you know, maybe they actually have like the horse character from the game come on the direct and talk. I don't know. But so yeah, with like all that combined, you know, we've seen a lot of the game, you know, through screenshots. Well, we haven't seen any of the game really, besides like from this promotional video. But you know, with all that combined, I don't really know if we're gonna see it. You know, basically, I would be more confident in seeing it even with this promotional video if they were giving it a little bit more fanfare before, you know, when they announced it. But the fact that, you know, they didn't really do that, they might just, we already pretty much know how the game is from the report from like last year about the game, unless obviously they changed some things. They probably have changed some things, but you know, there's probably a good idea about why they're not giving it much promotional time and fanfare. But so yeah, I mean, I had it in locks until that video. I guess I might put it down a level to pretty close to locks. It could even go down to no guarantees, just because who actually knows if this game is going to be in the direct, besides Nintendo. But you know, so we got those three things. Those three things I feel like are, you know, at least two of them are locks. But you know, now we're in the pretty close to locks category. And I actually have less in this category. Categorically wise, I guess I have more games, but I only have two things in this category, and that is the Splatoon 3 DLC Part 2, otherwise known as the DLC Side Order for Splatoon 3. I think we'll get a new trailer. They'll show off a little bit more of the story. They'll probably give it like a release window that's more specific to when this when the DLC is actually coming out. I don't think it gets a release date. Just because I feel like the release date's a little farther away than, you know, maybe a couple weeks from now. I feel like if it was a couple weeks from now, we would get a release date. But, you know, I think maybe it's in like September or October. So yeah, you know, we'll see a new trailer. You know, maybe some new gameplay features that are involved within the DLC, but I don't think we'll see much more than that. You know, maybe they'll talk about it for a couple minutes, but I don't really expect anything more than that. And then the other thing I had in this area was the third-party games. I have this in two different categories. I have third parties in both pretty close to locks and knowns but no guarantees, because there's obviously some third-party games, and I guess there is some from locks for this presentation, but I didn't want to say any third parties were locks because you know, you never actually know with third parties. You know, all we really know is that Nintendo's going to show off their games. We don't know if they're going to show off third-party games. So, for the third parties that I think are pretty close to locks, I have Persona 3 Reload. It kind of leaked that it's coming to Switch. You know, it's pretty clear that it's coming to Switch, I guess. But, you know, we still don't actually know if it's coming to Switch yet, like officially. Besides, I guess we kind of know it's officially coming to Switch because someone on the Atlas, when they uploaded like a trailer, they included the Nintendo Switch in like the consoles the game's coming to. Anyways, we got that. And then we obviously got Persona 5 Tactica, which is the Persona 5 Tactics game. That's already been announced for Switch, so I'm pretty sure they're probably going to do that and then be like, oh, you know, there's one more Persona game coming to Switch. And that'll be Persona 3 Reload. And then we got Baten Kaitos. I did think about putting this in the no guarantees because just last night, right before they announced this direct, or I guess maybe like, a half a day, 12 hours before they announced this direct, um, they did announce the date for the game with a new trailer. And Nintendo has officially published that trailer themselves as well on like their Twitter account. So I'm actually not necessarily sure if it will be a close to lock game. Maybe they won't show it. Maybe it will show up in like a sizzle reel. I think Persona, at least I think Persona 3 Reload's gonna get its own like headline. I'm not sure if Batten Kato's gonna get its own headline because we already seen the trailer. I don't know if they're gonna just rerun the same trailer in the direct. I feel like they wouldn't if Nintendo themselves have already published the trailer as well through their social media channels. So it could be like in this is a reel where they like show off the date again. That's pretty close, I guess. And then I have one more third-party game, and that is Mario Plus Rabbids. I think alongside Persona 3 Reload, that is the other guarantee, pretty close to guarantee for third parties, and that's just because I think they showed off like a segment, they showed off like a cutscene. I don't even know if that's in the game, but they showed off a cutscene during the Ubisoft Forward that showed off Rayman. I guess Rayman's model in the game, as a little cutscene type thing during like one of the segments where they were just like going through a bunch of games. So I feel like Nintendo, probably has the ability to, get a new trailer, or like they would probably save that for like since that game is exclusive for Switch because it has Mario in it. That would probably be like more for like a Switch audience, so they want to do that like with more people that play Nintendo's consoles watching, and that would be in it within Nintendo Direct. So we probably get like something new from the game. I'm not sure if we get a new trailer. Maybe it's like a new cutscene of sorts that talks about both Wave 2 and Wave 3 of the DLC. But I think that's also a pretty close guarantee for third party wise. I don't really know much other third party stuff that could be coming to Switch now. Besides those 3 games. I know there's a bunch of collections that are rumored. The Batman Arkham collection. Maybe a Castlevania type of collection. But obviously, this is a Nintendo Direct. So I know a lot of people just want to mainly predict Nintendo games. If I had to throw maybe one more third-party game out there, just in this section, it's just like a random prediction here, but maybe we see Stray come to Switch or something like that. Stray is a pretty big game. It was nominated for I think I actually won Best Indie at the Game Awards last year, so it would be a pretty big get to get Stray on the Switch, and I think that's pretty cool if they do. Okay, so the last thing that in this section is the stuff that we know about, but there's no guarantee that it will appear in this direct, and that's Metroid Prime 4. I just wanted to start off with that one. I think it's like a 50-50 shot it appears in this direct, and if it does appear in this direct, I think it goes along with one of the predictions I have, but we don't actually know how far that game is out. Obviously, for Nintendo's June 2021 direct, they showed off Tears of the Kingdom, or what we knew back then as just the sequel to Breath of the Wild. It was pretty much 2 years off at that point. So I guess maybe they could show off Metroid Prime 4 here. Maybe the date doesn't really necessarily matter because it was announced close to over 6 years ago now. I guess this is really the only other game that we know about besides Pikmin 4 and Everybody Want to Switch. And if Pikmin 4 is getting a spotlight and Everybody Want to Switch has already gotten like some sort of trailer of sorts, Metroid Prime 4 is really the only game we haven't seen from their announced slate so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's here, but I also wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't, and I actually might be surprised if it is, just because of how unknown about this game. Like, we don't really know much about this game, and there's still listings out there. I don't really look too much into those, just because obviously those are kind of indicative of how the game's going, but obviously studios are always hiring throughout the development process, so I would figure there'd probably be some hires out there. I think some of them are higher up leadership positions, so that could, be something a little different. But Metroid Prime 4 I think is a 50-50. I think with Pokemon, the other thing we know about is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC packs. I included this because I know Pokemon does their own things now, so it's probably less of a chance that this appears in the direct. But we haven't gotten a Pokemon Presents since February, and one of the DLC packs is supposed to release in the fall area of this year, so I would maybe say October. And for the second reveal of the DLC, for the second time they showed it off. They did show it off in a Nintendo Direct Mini in March of 2020. So, there is some background in that. Obviously, that was before they started doing presents, and they had only done Nintendo Directs, or Pokemon Directs, so, like a subheading, or like a subheading of of Nintendo Directs. So, maybe it's different now, but, it'd be cool to see these things, at least one of the packs, see the first one, I think it's the Teal Mask. So it'd be cool to see that one. Obviously, I would play it because I love Pokemon, but it'd be interesting, I guess. I guess I would kind of confirm if we would see things from Pokemon in Nintendo Directs, because if they, who knows, right? I think that one has a less chance of appearing in the Metroid Prime 4, in my opinion. Just because even if they're, yeah, I think maybe we still have Pokemon Presents for this summer. And I think that's where it would appear. But I did also just want to mention it because we haven't seen it in a couple months. The other things are Nintendo Switch Online games, or just Nintendo Switch Online in general. I think out of everything I've stated so far, that might have the least chance of it showing. Well, actually, no. I think they actually have the best chance of showing up. But I don't think we're gonna get any updates to Nintendo Switch Online, just because they just recently did Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. So I think it would be kind of difficult in that sense. I don't think they're gonna do GameCube and that stuff. So I don't think there'll be any updates to that. Maybe if they announce some sort of DLC in this presentation, maybe they'll say that DLC is a part of the expansion pack for Nintendo Switch Online, or maybe one of the older DLCs from another game is now in the expansion pack. But I'm not really sure we're gonna get anything beyond that, and maybe some game announcements. Pokemon is here. Maybe they announce the Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow are coming to NSO or something like that. But I think it'll probably get mentioned, but I don't know if we'll get any major updates for NSO. So there is a couple of third parties and indies that we know about that are coming to Switch, and I don't think that they are guarantees at all to be in this direct, and that is Hollow Knight, Silksong. That is a who knows type of scenario, because it can appear in this direct, and it could get a release date in this direct, and it could be launching next month for all we know. So and if it was in this direct, I wouldn't be surprised, because I think Hollow Knight is big enough that it would support itself being a headline in a direct outside, and not just in an indie world now, because it's so big. So I think that'd be kind of interesting, kind of cool, but I don't actually know. And then there's a couple of other third parties out there that maybe I don't know. I guess it's in a mixture. I'm just gonna state a bunch of third parties now, because they're actually, I guess I mentioned earlier, there's no guarantee about third parties. So maybe we see a new Dragon Quest, or a new 2D HD 2D game, or a maybe we see a new Marvel Ultimate Alliance game of sorts. But stuff like that. That's going more into prediction stuff. So I don't really have much more to say about third parties in that case. There's a big iffy, and obviously third parties do make up most of these directs. most of the directs are maybe spent like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes on first party stuff, and then the other other time is allotted for third party stuff. So we'll see a bunch of third parties. Probably see a couple of RPG type games, maybe a couple of like simulation games, stuff like that. But it's kind of hard to predict exactly what we'll see for third parties. If I had a game I wanted to see for my third party appear on Switch, maybe it would be like I don't know. That's something I gotta think about. But well, actually, I think it would be pretty interesting to see like I don't know. I mean, I guess you can really say most games. I mean, it would be interesting to see like a port of like a port of maybe Xenogears. I know that's like something that a lot of people don't. I mean, like this has been rumored for a little while now, and I'm actually about to go in my predictions / rumors. But there's a Chrono Trigger remake that's rumored. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe some of the older Atlas games come to Switch or something like that. Maybe it's a couple of like maybe Sonic Lost World from the Wii U comes to Switch. I mean, there's stuff like that I would really enjoy. Obviously, there's loads of third parties out there that could bring their games to Switch if they would like to. But yeah, so that is all I have for stuff that we know about. So now I'm just going to go into some predictions / rumors, and just list a bunch of stuff, I guess, because who knows. Predictions / rumors is even more unknown, especially in a direct which is announcing games, especially in a direct that has only 2 games that are solidly for this year, and we don't know anything beyond July from Nintendo. So normally we know a little bit more. So predictions are even more crazier now because who actually knows what's gonna happen. But yeah, so let us get into the predictions / rumors part of this section. I hope you all have enjoyed this predictions video up to this point. I've just been like, just trying to state things, but my predictions / rumors are just, it's gonna be just a bunch of loads of just words probably, and just me just saying games, I guess. But let's just get into that section. Okay, so I'm going to start with just basically the rumors, at least some of the rumors I've collected. Obviously there's a bunch of rumors out there that obviously I can't like talk about all of them all, but the bigger ones have been like an F-Zero GX remaster / remake from the GameCube. That'd be kind of cool. I think that could actually make it. I think out of everything, I'm probably going to say that has the most likely chance to actually appear in this direct, just because I think it would follow like the Metroid Prime pipeline, Prime 1 pipeline to launch. Maybe it's like maybe that's a shadow drop tomorrow, and it gets like a physical release in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. But I think that'd be kind of cool. That'd be like a maybe if they add like online to it, or something like that. Who knows? I think it'd be kind of cool. Even though I think we already have F-Zero on the Switch, some of the older games. So maybe that'd be less popular just because we hadn't had a Metroid Prime type game on Switch yet before Metroid Prime Remastered released. But obviously we have a couple of F-Zero games. But I think F-Zero would still be pretty cool to make it to the Nintendo Switch, especially F-Zero GX. And then speaking of Metroid, we also have Metroid Prime 2 and 3 as possible smaller remasters than Metroid Prime 1 was. I know that's like the big rumor, like they would release Prime 2 and 3 together because they're not necessarily as in depth in like how they remade the game or like remastered the game. They just probably just like made more. They probably just HDified the games, really. I think that's like the rumor out there. I think that'd be kind of cool. I think besides F-Zero, that's what I was kind of talking about Metroid Prime 4. I think if these two do show up, I think Metroid Prime 4 has to show up at least in some type of way. I don't think they can just do a mention in that case. Obviously, they could mention Metroid Prime 4 when they're talking about maybe like Metroid Prime 1 was like successful in this remaster, and they could say we're still hard at work on Metroid Prime 4, and we'll have updates later this year or later in the future. But if they do show Metroid Prime 2 and 3, I think they have to show Metroid Prime 4. And then we also have a new Donkey Kong game. I know that had a report recently that it was being developed by like in-house at Activision, and Nintendo was like overseeing it, and Nintendo took it in and gave it to the team that makes Super Mario Odyssey. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. Maybe we have a Donkey Kong game in development, maybe we don't. That's who knows, right? I mean, with any of these predictions, any of these rumors, who knows until they're actually shown off. And then we have two other rumors. One of them is much more likely in terms of we already know these games are real because they have been released on another console, and that is the Zelda, Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker ports. Maybe those come to Switch. I have a little portion about Zelda. I think Zelda does appear in this direct to a certain extent, but I don't think everything I'm going to say about Zelda does appear. So I think maybe the the ports are the least likely, just because of how close they would be released to Tears of the Kingdom. Especially if you're announcing them now, they would have to release in maybe 2 months. I still think that's pretty close to Tears of the Kingdom. So I think, the ports maybe, we know they're real, but at least on the Wii U, we know they exist on the Wii U, so they could bring them over, but who knows. And then the last rumor that I collected, and this will also go into my predictions, this is why I wanted to keep it for last, was a new Mario 2D game. I think if maybe Metroid Prime 4 isn't here, or the Donkey Kong game isn't here, I think Mario 2D, I think out of all these rumors, Mario 2D is probably the one that is real, just because of, besides obviously the Zelda ports. But I think Mario 2D is real. I think we will get a new Mario 2D game, if it's not in this direct, in the near future, just based on, some of the statements that Mr. Miyamoto has said. I think he knows, obviously he would know that a Mario 2D game is in development. And the way I look at some of this stuff is that from his comments, he said, look forward to like a future direct. I'm not really sure how far planning Nintendo is with these directs, but if he knew that the game would be premiering in a direct, and obviously that's just something simple to say, but if he knew that the game would be premiering in a direct, he probably knew that this direct would have a Mario game. Who knows? But I think Mario 2D is real. I think it is going to get announced in this direct, and if I had to go further, I think it will be the holiday game for Nintendo this year. Either released in October or November. I think that's their big game for the year. Just because I'm not really sure Metroid Prime 4 makes it for the year. We'll obviously know by tomorrow if it's going to make it. But if I had to make like a prediction on that end, I think it is far enough that it will release before the end of like Nintendo's physical year in March of 2024. But I don't think it's going to make this year. Just because I think it's a little too out there at this point. We still haven't seen it all. Even with Zelda, we took 2 years to see that game again, and it still didn't release for two more extra years from that second reveal that they had for the game. So I'm a little iffy on that, but I think 2D Mario is real. I did put down 3D Mario. Obviously, they show off 2D Mario and they're not going to show off 3D Mario, and I'm sure they're working on another 3D Mario, but I'm pretty sure they're probably going to save it for the next console, just because it is besides the Wii, where they got Mario Galaxy 2, we haven't gotten 2 Mario 3D games in the same generation. Even with the Wii U, we only got 3D World. So I think they probably want to save that for the next console. They launched the Switch with Zelda. Maybe they want to launch the next console with Mario, and then the next console after that would be like Zelda again. But yeah, So I think 2D Mario is going to be in this direct at some point. But yeah. And then everything else from here is just predictions. Because you know, predictions, right? So um, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I'm just gonna talk about both my Zelda other predictions here. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom DLC, and then Zelda remakes of some kind. Um, I included remakes just because maybe they want to remake another game. Like maybe they want to make the Oracle games, in the same way that they remade the same way they remade Link's Awakening. Um, that'd be kind of cool. But you know, maybe we get a Zelda collection of some sort. But I think out of all of this, probably the most likely is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom DLC. And I'm not even sure if that's going to be here because Tears of the Kingdom is so big, and I feel like the game is so recent in, you know, in the sense that it has only been released for like close or just over a month now, that I think they know the game is so big that there's stuff that people probably haven't seen yet. So they would have to be really careful with the DLC. So, you know, I think the game is gonna get DLC, but I do think that we are probably a direct early from DLC being announced, or maybe they'll announce DLC like on Twitter and then show it off in another direct in the next couple months. And then we have, you know, I'm just gonna go to my really random predictions. I think Captain Toad 2. I talk about Captain Toad all the time on this channel. Who knows? Captain Toad. I like the Captain Toad games. I talk about Captain Toad again a lot on this channel, so Captain Toad 2 would be awesome. I don't know if it's gonna happen. You know, that would be a mind-blowing reveal for me. You know, when I'm recording my reaction, that might be the reaction that gets me the most excited, in that video. But I don't think it's real, so I don't think we're gonna be able to see that. But another game that would do the same reaction in that sense would be a new Kid Icarus game, or just even a Kid Icarus remake from 3DS, Kid Icarus Uprising remake. That'd be awesome. I love Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus Uprising is my favorite game on the 3DS, so it'd be awesome to get a remake. I know there was some rumors about that from like Bandai Namco was like remaking a 3DS game that's like in the genre of Kid Icarus Uprising. If it's real, I think this would be the direct to show it off in, because I don't know how much more games Nintendo has left in the tank for Switch for the next console releases. So, Kid Icarus would be like a cool game, just to get out like near the end of the Switch's lifespan. That, would be a pretty cool game for everyone to play. But yeah. And then we have Luigi's Mansion, or like a Luigi's Mansion 4, Luigi's Mansion remake. Maybe one remake or two remake, or Dark Moon remake, I guess. But what is it? They've already remade one for the 3DS, so I'm not sure if they would remake it again. Just because I'm sure there's a lot of people on the Switch have already replayed that game on the 3DS. But I think it'd be kind of cool. Luigi's Mansion 4 is a little bit, more out there because Next Level just released Strikers last year. So unless they're like, working really fast, I don't really know if they would, be able to make Luigi's Mansion and like reveal it. Because I think if it's announced this year, it's coming out this year. Unless this is, I have really talked about it a lot, but unless this is not in the mostly for 2023 games, and this is a 2024 or like a really far future game. But I still think, Next Level Games is just too. They haven't been working. They haven't been working long enough to show off the next game, and that goes for another Punch Out game as well. I know there's been a lot of rumors that a new Punch Out game would be revealed, or like a new Punch game does exist. But again, if Next Level's making it, I think that they're too still close to the Strikers release to have enough, in my opinion, to show. And obviously that could be wrong. Who knows how many teams at Next Level are working on their games, but I think we're still not that far away from the Strikers release. And then I had Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 4. I don't know. That was just a random prediction because I liked Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 in the first two games. And obviously, I think Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 did end with a little bit of a tease towards the future of the series. But, and the game did sell well. I think it's a little over 1 million. So it would be nice to see a sequel to the game, but who knows? Who actually knows if the game is real or if it exists? But yeah, it'd be cool, you know. Yeah. And then we did, and this is like a rumor slash prediction, but we did have a couple of leaks earlier this year or late last year talking about a Fire Emblem game. I think Fire Emblem 4, if I'm correct, getting remade for the Switch. And you know, I think a lot of people were saying that was like supposed to release before Engage. I think we're too. I don't really know, because last year they revealed Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes and Engage in the same year, and they released them the same physical year. But so maybe they would release another Fire Emblem game, or like announce one. But I think, you know, Engage announcing like 2 games that are that similar in the Fire Emblem series, you know, without even a year between their release, or like a year between their announcements even, I think that's a little too much. But it could be real. And that goes for, I think I mentioned Warriors. Who knows? We are 2 years. We're gonna be a year from the reveal of Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, or over a year, and then a year since release of Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, Warriors 3 Hopes. They could show off new Warriors game, but again, I think that maybe that's like a later, if we get a direct later this year, that's like a later this year direct type of reveal, just because I feel like 3 Hopes is only a year old, and you know, a lot of people were saying maybe to be like a Xenoblade Warriors. We just got Xenoblade 3 Xenoblade Chronicles 3 it's not also even a year old yet, and the DLC just released for that. So I feel like maybe that would be like, you would want to probably have a little bit more distance between at least the DLC and the announcement of a Warriors game for that series. And then I have Mii games, you know, Mii, like a Switch Party or a updates. Like, I don't know if they'll do an updates for Nintendo Switch Sports, just because that game did stop its you know, weekly releases for like content. Maybe they'll release DLC, maybe like the 2 new sports. I know those data mines back then that they like had dodgeball and basketball in the coding, but maybe they just didn't develop them develop them long enough to, you know, have them ready, or, you know, maybe Nintendo wanted them to, like, the team on that game to go work on maybe Nintendo Switch Party, or like a new Nintendo Switch Mii game of sorts. But I did outline one specific game for Mii's that I think likely, you know, that's likely most people want, and that is Tomodachi Life. Either a port from the 3DS, like an upgraded port with like new content, and like you know, the Mii Maker. I don't know if it was a Mii Maker customizer in Miitopia, or just got like a Mii customizer, but like with that customization, I think that'd be kind of cool to have a Tomodachi Life. I know a lot of people probably want a sequel. I would probably also want a sequel, just because Tomodachi Life at this point is close to 10 years, if it's not already 10 years old. Actually, no, I think it's 9 years old. I think it came out in 2024. So, you know, that'd be kind of cool. I think Tomodachi Life is also possible, just because we already got Miitopia. You know, they already tried their hand at, you know, a game that was in like the Mii type genre. Obviously, Tomodachi Life is a little different. That's a simulation game, but I think that'd be kind of cool.